Now this is the listening section where your listening skills will be tested.
This section has some features that could be a bit challenging, but practice will help a lot.
Once again, good luck and enjoy!
As you already know, the listening section lasts 60 or 90 minutes and consists of 2 or 3 sets. Now, each set consists of 1 dialogue and 2 lectures and lasts around 30 minutes. The section has several distinctive features. First, there's no skipping. You have to answer each question as it appears. Second, once you've submitted your answers, there's no changing it. Third, you can't see the questions while listening, but you can take notes. And finally, you'll have 10 minutes to answer all 17 questions. First off, let's talk about dialogues. They normally last 3 or 4 minutes and always deal with a problematic situation on campus. First question is always the same. Why does the man or woman come to see the professor? Or what is the man's or woman's problem? You should listen actively to the beginning. Why did he or she come? What is the solution? Another important thing to notice is a change of tone. For example, from frustrated to appreciative. And also note unusual or emotional moments when the man or the woman are very vocal and expressive. And finally, note the details. For instance, when they mention some specific facts or studies, etc. Now, next we have the lectures. They normally last 5 or 7 minutes and they deal with academic topics like biology, geology, humanities, social science, etc. To successfully answer the questions, you should predict and analyze the structure of the lecture. For example, problem solution, or maybe cause and effect, description. You should stay concentrated and engage with the topic as much as possible. Try to note some features, details, and characteristics of the things they mention because they'll ask you about it. Also note the unusual moments. For example, students interrupt the professor, or professor makes a joke, professor corrects himself, some questions from the audience. They normally ask about that as well. Now, some do's and don'ts. So moving on, when you hear words like study, research, thesis, means that it's very important and you have to write down the findings or the results. If the professor shares his or her opinion about that study, once again, note that because they'll ask you about it later. Most important information is always repeated, and professor naturally makes pauses, slows down before something important is about to come up. You should be prepared and take some notes. Finally, last 10 or 15 seconds of the lecture are very important because they may introduce some new information and then they ask you about it. And you should always try and use process of elimination while answering questions. Now we will cover the basics of effective note-taking. First, never write down full words. You should use contractions instead. And write down only verb and noun collocations. You should never write down any names, dates, and numbers because they won't ask you about it. Also, use symbols and some drawings. Separate your tips, otherwise it will be impossible to decipher your clustered and unintelligible handwriting later. And you might use your native language for your notes because no one cares.